and welcome to Skits and Quibbles. It's the arts and culture show where we meet industry professionals and we learn about their experiences, hear their advice, their top tips, and today we are going to be talking about the power of creative writing, especially poetry. We have a wonderful guest on today's show. She's been on this show before. It's Kezzabelle Ambler. She's a performance poet. She's the 11th Bard of Northamptonshire, and she's going to be talking to us not only about the joy of poetry, but also how we can get a little bit more poetry and creative writing into our lives. And she'll even be leading us in a very short micro Weaving Words workshop, a concept she pioneers and takes around mental health wards, as well as holds retreats and sessions for everybody to enjoy. So, without further ado, let's hand it over to Kezzabelle.
Kintsugi love repairs. Different dialects, languages and accents. Vocal chords with a local twang. Diverse community around me as I work out who I am. Disagreements, verbal battles, social media injuries. Do they win the divisionary war? They're just short-term victories. Combative voices, past and present, snipe. Scissored words have us flawed. Pick up the shattered pieces. Take time to mend and pause. Kintsugi means join cracks and seams. The flaws, imperfections claim as ours. Broken, now stronger. Shiny gold repairs. Embrace the learning art of our precious scars. Listen to your inner voice, your gut instinct, God instinct true. Affirm and choose your peers wisely. Life's finest glue is simply love and self-value.
Kezzabelle, welcome back to Skits and Quibbles. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
It's great to be here.
And that was just such a lovely poem to open.
Thank you.
Now, I know you mentioned it briefly in the poem, but for any of our listeners and viewers who don't know what kintsugi means, could you?
So kintsugi is a Japanese art form. And if you've got a pot or something that's broken, instead of discarding it and just throwing it away, you actually take the time to mend it, and when you glue it together you put in gold or silver or platinum. So you're really showing up those scars and embracing them as such. And it's a piece of beauty, and we've all got our scars and our past traumas and different things that have happened. So we're going to own them and we're going to shine.
I love that. That's so important, isn't it? Because we talk about this a lot on the mental health show, and we are going to get you on there as well. But because when it comes to going through traumas and adverse experiences, there is a very common belief of, I'm just forgetting that person, I'm just removing that person. And of course, that's how you become who you are, and there's a pride in that, actually. Yes. It's a survivor, warrior type pride in it. And
actually there is that letting go, and I have got a poem in my latest book called Letting Go. But there's also, when you're experiencing loss of loved ones, that hurt and that grief doesn't change size, but you work around it. So that whole way you can't pour your love in anymore, you still got it's hurting, physically hurting, because there's nowhere to pour that love. And so as you grow around that, so the grief doesn't get less and less and less, you grow around it.
Yes. Oh, and I mean, you have a way with words, obviously. Yeah. So this is a great opportunity to sort of delve deeper into the work that you do. The first question I have for you, though, is why poetry? Why poetry in particular? Why not just creative writing? I say just. Why not creative writing or journaling? What is so special about poetry?
I mean, my grandma used to read me Rupert Bear when I was a little girl. And there's, it's all bidoo-bidoo-bidoo. It's very rhymey.
Yes.
So I was brought up on that. My mum loved Shakespeare. And so there's a bit of a foundation there. But I do like to play with words. But actually, I mean, poetry can rhyme, it can be as prose, really.
Yeah.
But it's just a different form. And really, all we're doing is storytelling.
Yeah.
And so when I became the 11th Bard of Northampton, that tradition that goes back centuries is the spoken word and stories being passed on, and everyone's got a story.
Yes.
And that's what I feel passionate about with my Weaving Words workshops, because often, I mean, I was a very shy little girl, and, you know, often people aren't heard. That I find that in mental health wards, in wellbeing centres, even we go to festivals and run workshops in yurts, and you know, and people want to be heard. We all want to be heard. That little girl, that little shy little girl I was, wanted to be heard. And so that's why I'm so passionate about getting people to express their story. In fact, in the mental health ward, it's not called creative writing, it's called creative expression, because sometimes we might just splosh paint and we might weave a little word in it. Or we might, you know, yes. And sometimes we've written words onto ticker tapes and ribbons and literally woven those words into a piece of art. So everyone's got a different way to express, but often as adults, people say, I can't draw, I can't dance, I can't sing, I can't paint. We can do it all. Just we don't need to compare it to anyone. Yeah. That's the thing.
Yes, I love that. And there is that element of that performance opportunity, because another music charity has said this as well. They work with young people, and young people, even when they go and speak to someone, they still don't feel heard. But when they've written a song and everyone's watching them on stage, it's then there. And I think there's something in that as well, which is amazing. And when it comes to poetry and healing, because this is a lot of the work that you do, is it poetry that has a very specific healing opportunity, or is it any form of writing that works?
I think it's any form of writing, really. And I mean, poetry, we can use a noun or a word. We can say lion, and we immediately think of raw. We haven't said strength. We haven't said raw, but we've said lion. And there's a poem I wrote for National Hate Crime Week, and in it is the word halitosis. And when I say it, when we talk about words are powerful and they can cause a lot of problems, I go, halitosis. I really, you know, and so the way we express our words and the way it resonates towards others, even reducing our words. And so in poetry, it's less is more. Yes. So you might write loads and then just pull out key words. You're making every word count. Yes. Is that word doing any work? Yeah. Do we need that word? So I went on a workshop in Catalonia, and it was a gift for me, which I was very privileged to have. There was people there writing thousands of words a day from all over the world, and I thought, my stories are in a page. And what I didn't realise was that they were in awe that I could get a story in one page, whereas I was in awe of them writing these thousands of words in these novels and stories. Yes. So actually it's condensing down and using the 5 senses, and it's that show, not tell. So you're showing what you want to say. You're not always particularly telling it. So you might be using metaphors and pictures, talking pictures.
So interesting. It really is. And so on that then, performance is a big part of your poetry and how, you know, and healing. But is it, that's my question really, is the performing as important as the words for the healing process?
Well, for me, when I'm in a mental health ward and someone's written some words, and they might just do a stream of consciousness where they just release any words that are in their heads, any words. And sometimes there's a line that you think, oh, that's a beautiful line. And they can't even see it. And I say, may I? And I read it, and they hear those words, and suddenly they realise the beauty in what they've written. So, and when I'm performing, you're connecting with your audience, and the more time you have, the better. You know, they might laugh, they might cry, they might feel a little bit mischievous and saucy, whatever it is, but you're really connecting, and it's not just the words, it's the intonation, the pause, the sass, the meek. And I know in certain poems that I can't help it. I remember how I felt when I wrote that poem. And I reduce. And so you are connecting how you feel, what you've observed. It's all those things. It's observations, it's feelings, it's all of that.
So it really is a big part of it. Is the speaking and the performing.
Yeah.
So how do you support somebody then who might feel quite confident in writing but not speaking? The performance side of things. Can you get well-being out of just the writing, or is the performance an important part?
Yeah, the writing, or scribbling as I call it, because sometimes as soon as you say writing, people go, because I can't spell. Like, my teacher said I was rubbish. Is the grammar right? Is the space in the grammar? All that. That's why it's creative expression, because you're just getting it out. But you can. My goal, sometimes when I meet someone and they come to a Weaving Words workshop, I might never see them again. So sometimes I've only got one chance.
Yes.
My goal is that they go away and continue writing. That's the goal, because I know as they're scribbling away each day or whenever, they see something that makes them laugh or feel something that they write, or someone really annoys them and they have a rant on the page. They might turn the page and never look at it again, but that connecting with yourself onto that page, that honesty with yourself, actually, because quite often when people say, how are you? And you say, I'm fine. How often are we honest on that page? And you would be scribbling away saying, I don't know what to write, or what am I having for tea later, or whatever's coming out. And towards the end, that is when something comes out of the pen and you didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
It reveals itself almost without even that connection of that pen and that page. So actually, you don't need to speak it, but there's a power in speaking it.
Yeah, but I can also see the power in writing alone as well.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Oh, there's so much that can come out of something so simple and something that people are so afraid to do for fear of getting it wrong. But of course, you never get anything wrong when you're creatively expressing yourself. Exactly. That's the whole point of creativity.
That's it.
Oh, well, right. We have a treat for you, because Kezzabelle is going to take us through micro Weaving Words workshop. So go off, grab yourself a pen and paper, and we'll be back straight after this. I'm Dr. Audrey Tang, a chartered psychologist, and on my show Mental Health Matters, we take a deep dive into all things mental health and wellbeing with the experts. So join us at 8 a.m. PST on Thursdays on the Fresh Takes channel, because mental health matters on E360 TV. Welcome back to Skits and Quibbles. We have got Kezzabelle Ambler with us. She's a performance poet in the 11th Bard of Northamptonshire, and she is going to take us through a micro Weaving Words workshop, which is something that you do with the community on mental health wards. It's a way to get us a little bit more connected with expressing ourselves through scribbling.
Through scribbling, yes. And this is one of my scribble pads. And literally, you can scribble anything. It's a mess.
Oh, I see.
This is where all my poetry and my published stuff comes from. Scribbling.
Wow.
Drawing, getting it out, ideas, a mess. So I show that because I don't want you to think, oh, it all has to be perfect and wonderful. So grab your pens, grab your paper, and what I would really love to install is get a notepad for you that you can scribble in any time you like. Okay. So we're going to literally start by emptying our heads onto the page. So there's no wrong or right, we're just going to write. So you might write, I don't know what to write. You might write, my knickers are uncomfortable. You can write anything. It's not a poem, it's not a piece. We're not trying to write. We're just emptying our heads. And once we've got rid of that busyness, then we can do some writing. Okay? So let's just scribble our thoughts. Don't overthink it. And I'm literally going to write, don't overthink it. And as I said, no wrong, no right. Just right. And you can keep writing and keep going as long as you like. We're limited for time today. Sometimes lots come out, sometimes not much comes at all. And the first time I ever did this, I found it really hard because it wasn't to an end of something. You know, if you write a letter or fill in a form for the council, or there's usually some reason that you're writing. We are allowing ourselves, we're giving ourselves permission to write any old nonsense, actually. But actually, by allowing ourselves to do that, sometimes some real beauty will come. So, just to show you, you can write any old nonsense. I wrote, don't overthink, just write thoughts, orange rug, I just happened to look down, lovely people, need my breakfast, tummy, love my new watch, hooray for charity shops, looking forward to performing later, empty page, because I glanced over and there was an empty page. Brilliant. So literally, all I've done is let those thoughts tumble.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the easier that gets.
Yes.
If I'd have gone on a little longer, there might have been a bit more personal stuff come out of that. And sometimes it is too personal to share, and we sometimes share around the table. I've got Weaving Words each month, and people come to my studio, and we have vegan fruity flapjack and tea, and you know, so, and sometimes I'm in a yurt at a festival, but wherever we are, we would have more time. Actually.
Yes, of course.
Allow yourself the time.
Yes.
Don't set that limit to yourself, because actually, I've got an empty page, and if I'd have kept writing, like, I don't know what to write, you'd be amazed what comes out.
Yes.
That's where the power comes.
Yes, I like that. So what we are doing today is just giving a bit of structure to starting writing. But yeah, it's about giving the time to allow those thoughts. Yes. I mean, on that, how do you know when things have sort of got... Well, I suppose you can see it, can't you, when it's got a bit more...
I'm going to ask you to read yours.
Oh, gosh, okay, yeah. Oh, this is going to be really embarrassing now. Okay, well, I started off by saying paranoia / recorded. This is I'm very aware of the camera as my next point. Then I went on a stream of consciousness. Now I'm wondering why I write on an angle, because I always do that. And why I didn't write that bit on an angle.
Yes. Yeah. So you're noticing.
Yeah, and then I got myself into, I'm actually quite funny. I went into, is that up my own bum? And I started having a conversation in my own head about this.
I love that.
Oh, that's so funny.
I love your openness. But actually, for me, I've immediately jumped on writing at an angle, because life is an angle, and sometimes it's a steep hill. Yeah. So we could highlight that those words, writing at an angle, and off we could go. That could be the title of a poem or a piece, writing on angles, life on an angle. Yeah, you know.
Love it.
So sometimes, so for me, I mean, what would I pull out of mine? Looking forward, even looking forward, or you know, that we often say, "Oh, I'm looking forward to this," and you know, so even one tiny word, and I wrote empty page. You know, there was a lady in a mental health ward, and I said, empty the busyness out onto the page. And she said, I haven't had any busyness in my head for 2 years. And I said, write about that. She wrote the most beautiful piece about how she didn't have anything in her mind. It was stunning. I said, did you used to be a writer? And she said, in a quiet voice, I did.
Oh, wow.
And that was the beginning of her writing again.
Oh, amazing.
You know.
Love it.
So you just... It's starting. What did you write, Jude?
Well, mine's really boring.
That's fine. It could be a shopping list. I must get some vegetables later.
Not quite like that. I just wrote too much going on. Need to empty my thoughts onto paper, so like very literal. And then I just wrote dogs, doctors, plumber, because we got a leak at home. This is very different. ...
Yes,
that's as far as I got.
Yeah, and again,
because I was aware of the cameras. This is very different.
So, and actually, we all only did a short piece, and if we'd have carried on, more would have come. Like, probably. I'm nervous about that, or what will happen when I get that phone call, or will that be a big bill when the plumber comes? And you know, more comes there. Or you might go off on a tangent like I did about the orange rug and just think, oh, I love orange. You know?
It's just allowing yourself to go off on those tangents, which is so powerful, because we never do that. It's always, right, we're structured, we're to time, we're to script, we're to
Because I could go orange and I could say, oh, the Satsuma, and then I'll go, oh, remember that time when I had that beautiful freshly squeezed orange and I was on that beach? Then suddenly you're going somewhere else and you remember a feeling or a thought or a...
Yeah, I love that. Well, if you've got any feelings, thoughts, comments, please put them in the comments, because it would be great to see what you've been writing.
Yes, just allow yourself. Yeah. So next, so we would normally spend longer on that, but then next we'd have a prompt. So this week, it could be anything. It could be something we smell. So when you're at home and you think, I want to write and I want a prompt, you could write a book, get a book and open it any page, take a line and run with it.
Lovely.
You could inhale and smell a flower or whatever. You could taste something and write about how it tastes. So using those senses. So today we can go with how we view things. Let's look at, how do we view things? Do we view things through rose-tinted glasses? Do we view things through binoculars and exaggerate and grow things? Do we look through a kaleidoscope? Are we short-sighted on things? How do we view things? So let's have a go at writing. Through what lens are we looking at life when we wake up? Somebody made a joke to me about red flags, where they said to me about red flags, like, oh, be careful, red flags. And I said, but if you're wearing rose-tinted glasses, it looks like bunting. And so then suddenly I was thinking, oh, I think I feel a poem coming out.
Yes, I love that.
But it does make a difference, that light and dark, on a grey day. Yeah. It makes us change. So how are we... Yeah, let's have a little scribble about lenses, glasses, or wherever it takes you, on how we're viewing life. So let's have a go at viewing. And you might make a shopping list of words. It might not be a poem or a piece, you might just fill the page with words. Lenses, contact lenses, glasses. I mean, we've often hide behind sunglasses, don't we? And again, there's no wrong nor right, just write. Just make a start. And the more we write, the more we'll notice as well. And so this is our first time of writing. But we'll start to notice when things are lighter and darker, and the way we view things. And if you're in a bad mood, or if someone's really peed you off 5 minutes before, it changes the view of your conversation with the next person. It changes that lens. And so and we can wax lyrical about lenses and play with words as well. It is about being playful too. You get those 3D glasses, don't you? The glasses you wear when you look at the sun. What were they called? When we had the...
Oh, yeah, I remember those. Yes, yeah.
I
know what you're saying. Yes,
eclipse.
The eclipse. Yeah, we had to wear protective glasses. I do remember that.
Yeah. And like the many hats we wear, when you put a certain pair of shades on, you walk in a certain way, and you're like, do you know who I am? Yeah. Or if you've got your funky ones on, it makes you want to put your flares on. It puts you in a silly mood, So the way our intentions and how we start our day, huge. Yeah. Even to the point where you could put next to your bed a pair of pink glasses or something silly, or heart-shaped glasses. You might not even need to put them on, but you might be aware of, I'm going to start my day in this way.
I love that.
With your intention. Yeah. So I just wrote viewing, lenses, glasses, sunglasses, light shade, rose tinted, turn the light on, intentions, deep breathing, how we start our day, sunshine, nature, And there was one thing I wrote, a very short thing I wrote, we are many shades, we are the rainbow, we are the pot of gold.
Lovely.
So again, it's remembering who we are as well. But that intention and that how we start our day and what lens we use. But you might have written something completely different. You might have written how you went to the opticians once as a kid and you hated it. What fell out of your
I could
pen?
have written that.
Yeah.
Could
Do you know
easily
what
have
I mean?
written that.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, what did you write?
No,
down?
I wrote first thing, as in first thing in the morning, even in the dark, the day looks rosy. Because that's how I wake up every day. I know.
that.
But a lot of people have said that.
Yeah.
Sun shining, even if it's not. Dogs happy, because dogs come on my bed in the morning. Some things happen, sun goes behind a cloud, but there are always silver clouds.
Yes. And that sun is still there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sunflowers follow the sun, don't they?
Oh,
But actually, if they didn't have shade, they wouldn't survive because they need the shade for their roots to protect their roots. The leaves protect their roots. So we do need the dark and the shade and the... Yeah. What did you write?
Interestingly, I went back to, I guess when I say how we view things, I talk so much being a psychologist, self-awareness. So this is where I've gone with self-awareness, overthinking, restricted viewing, validation, expectations, which hold you back, ego-driven, own narrative. Then I went to perspective, but then that threw me off onto a tangent because it's really funny. My dad was a craft design technology teacher and taught me to draw in perspective.
Right.
So I just mentioned that and I've just circled that as a
I
thing.
love that.
And then went back to the psychological side of things with reaching out and highlighting things.
And I love it that you allowed yourself to go there. Often I'll say to people, have a margin, because sometimes a random word might pop in your head and you think, oh, I'll write that.
Yes.
So you don't forget.
Yeah.
Or when you're in a flow of writing, you might write something and you think, oh, that's not the word I want. Just stick brackets around it. You can go back later.
Yeah.
So the flow continues.
Yeah.
But I love it that you allowed yourself to play, to be playful.
Yeah.
And do you know, most of my work in my Weaving Words workshops is encouraging adults to be playful. The next book is called Permission to Play. Because so often I'm saying, come on, let's turn it upside down and look at it like this. Let's look at life in a different way. Yeah. Let's look at everything in just a different way of looking at things. Let's view it in all sorts of lights and shades and kaleidoscopes, and be playful. Chalk.
I think we forget how to do that, don't we?
Exactly.
Give someone a piece of
Yes,
chalk.
because chalk can be erased quite easily.
And before you know it, if you put on hopscotch outside your house, you will watch people hopscotching outside your house.
That's true.
It's amazing.
That's true.
The playfulness comes out and people giggle. And even if they don't do it, they giggle.
Yeah.
You know. And again, that was talking about our intentions in the morning. You know, that first thing in the morning, look in that mirror for 28 days on the trot and say, good morning, Audrey. You look amazing. We're going to have a great day today. I might look in the mirror, good morning, Kezzabelle, you look amazing. We're going to have a great day today. I might have bags under my eyes and a spot here and everything, but even verbalising it is going into your ears, it's going into your subconscious. Your subconscious will find that great day you promised. And it can turn the whole day around. It can turn a month around. And make a difference. Well done, everybody, on your first Weaving Words experience.
That's incredible.
Round of applause. Very quick pit stop, but and I've got an app coming out soon. So if you do want to jump in with the app, there will be creative writing workshops there and art and inspirations. And
that's fantastic. And so with the workshops, when you sort of close things up, do you get people to write a piece at the end of it, or is it getting the words out?
Usually, again, that prompt. I mean, we've done a 2-hour workshop in 15 minutes, you know, and the prompt where you start to write is a first draft. And I say that because and sometimes something comes out and it's amazing. It's like, that doesn't need any editing or changing or anything. But sometimes you might just turn a sentence around and then suddenly, or it might change one word, or you might put the piece that you put at the end at the beginning, and then suddenly it opens up your story or your poem or your prose or whatever. So sometimes just having an outside eye, the next day even, looking at what you wrote and like, oh, and I love that line, or just pulling out the beauty in it. And I do help people edit things, but really to start off with, it's getting that first draft. Starting.
That was fabulous, and that's such a great way to get started as well.
Yeah.
When you don't know what to write about, and you've seen us do it. You've seen us do it in front of the camera, just going for it.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Well done.
That was fabulous. We're going to hear another poem from Kezzabelle, and this one is called "I Am Happiness."
This poem is inspired by a book called Be Happy by Robert Holden, and it's called I Am Happiness. I am happiness. You are happiness. We are happiness. No need to search and seek it any longer. Just share it. It's here inside, right under our noses, given and received in a smile, in a hug, in a blessed conversation. Imagine pockets brimming, sprinkling handfuls of happiness as you walk, as you talk, over laughter and tears, happiness beating away your fears, flowing from your pores. It's yours. And the more you give away, the happier you feel. I am happiness. You are happiness. We are happiness. Imagine.
Welcome back to Skits and Quibbles. Kezzabelle, that workshop was just fabulous. That was so relaxing, therapeutic.
Really relaxing.
And it really kind of... the fact that we're also so different, and it's okay.
And it's okay.
That makes a huge difference, I think, because you're so paranoid about what do people think of me, and it's...
And getting it wrong.
Yes.
And being creative, it's never wrong.
Of course, yeah.
It's never wrong.
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. So this is a bit which we really enjoyed, is the bits that we've taken away from today. I think for me, one of the key things is just doing that workshop. And I know I write in very quite abrupt sentences, but because we've been talking about poetry and how the different structures work, actually abrupt sentences could work as a poem.
Yes.
And that,
yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah. You could have a whole page and just one line in the middle saying, I'm feeling lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Brilliant.
There's a poem called Missing Him about my grandson who passed, and it's all in lowercase, and it's very quiet. And it says a lot without saying a lot. So, and again, that's poetry, isn't it? It's that show, not tell.
Yeah. What about you, Jude? What's your key?
That it's very relaxing, as you said, it really, really is. And also it's quite interesting. I mean, I tend to be very literal in my thinking and everything else, and you can kind of see like how different we are.
Yeah.
But even that, you said it sounded,
okay.
you know, there were a couple of poetic terms or your phrases in there. So
because you're allowed to be flowery with it if you want, or drastic with it.
Yeah.
You can go dark if you want to, purple and you know, whatever. You can, you know, and even the way I said purple, then purple, you know, or we could go purple and lilac and, you know, the way we use words.
It's amazing. I mean, Kezzabelle, we're going to leave it to you to give us your top tips for getting a bit more, I guess, using poetry to express our feelings.
Okay, so top tips. First one would be start. Everyone's got a story in them, and at the times that people say to me, "Oh, I've got a story. I really ought to write that," and start. It doesn't. Don't worry about it being wrong. Just start. And if you want some help, I can help you, or I know people that can help you. And one of my strap lines is express, heal, and play. And we spoke earlier about being more playful. Allow yourself to mess about with the words. Do them up the page, as you were saying, at different angles. You know, scoopy writing. You know, play. Allow yourself to play. And the other one I would say is be authentic. You know, particularly when we're talking spoken word, I don't say I meandered and skipped through the hills and dales. I say I went for a walk and nature smelt divine, and speak your voice, be authentic. That is a real top tip I would give you. And one of the things I learned very early on is there's no rules. There's no rules. Because I remember I was going to the Rutland Poets, and Michael Tolkien, he put on the back of my book, his review was, I don't want to like it, but I do. Yeah. Because I don't know what the rules are, and so I didn't even know I was breaking them, and it didn't matter. So no rules is what I would say.
That's good rules for life as well, no rules. That is just fabulous.
Play and start.
Amazing. Now to close our show today, we've got another treat. You are going to take us through a haiku meditation.
I am. And in the new app, A Weaving Words Experience, there's a button there where you can breathe. And we were talking about how we start our day. And it's even if you're lying in bed and you just take a few breaths, it's really important. So I would like you to close your eyes. Are you closing your eyes? Yeah. And we're going to take in a deep breath. There we go. Deep breaths in, calm me. Mindful peace comforts me still. Life patterns flowing. And again, deep breaths in. Calm me. Mindful peace comforts me still. Life patterns flowing. One more time. Deep breaths in. Calm me. Mindful peace comforts me still. Life patterns flowing. Thank you.
Just lovely. Kezzabelle, thank you so much for being here. Please tell us your website and where we can get hold of you.
3 W's, kezzabelle.co.uk. That's a double Z.
And we'll have that link in the show notes. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
It really has.
A really creative week.